All right, so we were in the process of talking about financial literacy and what it means, its definition, and I will be calling on, you all will go like counterclockwise if I'm correct here, just to read the paragraph, but I'll start it off. I'll read the first one, financial literacy, and when we get down to the 5 key components, as I was saying before, then we're gonna break that down. So, financial literacy, history and origins. Definition of financial literacy is the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage financial resources effectively for a lifetime of financial well-being. Can anyone further expound what that's really saying? That's the definition of financial literacy, but I'd like to hear you all's definition of financial literacy to you and what that means. The ability to use knowledge and skills to manage financial resources effectively for a lifetime of financial well-being. How can we, what's our ability? I mean, what can we do to make sure that we're doing that? Financial literacy, skill, and knowledge. What kind of knowledge would you have to manage your finances?
To not overspend.
Don't overspend. That'll come right from there. I'm gonna put it, I like that. Don't overspend.
But you know it's gonna happen.
Right. But to prevent that from happening, I want to put that on the budget. So we're going to put budget right up here.
Right.
So that's a part of budgeting. What else? As it relates to what kind of skills do we need rather, to manage our financial resources effectively outside of budgeting? What's another way?
Saving.
Saving? Yes, ma'am. You hit it right on the head. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You got that on the board over here on this end. Okay. Anybody else? Putting a plan into action. Because when you're saving and when you don't overspend, which is a part of budgeting, you're putting a plan into action to make sure that you are effective for a lifetime to set yourself financially. It's really, really important to know what that means to you and your why and why you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I'm just gonna pick on you if you don't mind just for a second about them Ugg boots, okay? They calling your name, but we talking about, this says lifetime. So Uggs, I know women, we love to shop in the moment, it makes us feel good. Sometimes it's therapy, because I do it too, I get carried away, go in the store and come out like, how did I wind up spending that? I just went in for 1 or 2 items and I came out with a basket, Or you go in the clothing store, ooh, I can see myself and I like that. But having the ability to be able to put that plan into action, budgeting and saving, that will help you redirect that mindset. That's what I teach on a lot. You can have the finances, but if you don't have the right mindset, then it's not going to mean anything. That's just like people hitting the lotto. You haven't heard of that? And about 3 or 4 years later, if not earlier, they're broke. Why? Because for one, they weren't exposed to that type of money. They've never had their hands on that type of money. So when they get that money, they're doing everything that they can think of. Ooh, I want to buy me a house, car. Maybe one house and one car is not enough. They go to the extreme. So if they've had a plan, put a plan into action and actually held themselves accountable and stuck with it, then some of the money that they got, if they were that lucky winner, they would still have it for a lifetime. And making sensible decisions. So like, when you put a plan into action, you want to know where to really invest your money. And we'll get a little bit into that to like the 4th week. But you want to know where to invest your money. So the money works for you and you're not working for the money. Who in here wants to make money while they sleep? Can I stick my hand up?
Yeah.
When you wake up, you just made another dollars and cents. There's a way to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that comes through diversifying your portfolio and making investments, what's sensible, what seems sensible, having your money work for you instead of you working for the money. Lou Haverty, financial literacy in the 20th century. So for Lou Haverty, a chartered financial analyst and creator of the finance commentary site, Financial Analyst Insider, this development can be traced back to acts of Congress that established extension programs and provided funds for research. So he was head of that in the 20th century. He was an analyst and the creator of the finances commentary. Okay, so they put programs into play to track funds for research. moving on down, the 5 key components of financial literacy, which what I wrote here, and we're gonna go a little bit more in depth, is earn, which is understanding your paycheck. Spend, create a personal budget. 3, save, determine your financial goals. 4, borrow, credit, loans, credit score, and we'll get into the credit score in about the 9th or 10th week. You'll really understand the reason why credit really does matter in the score as well. Protect, preventing fraud, and buying insurance. So we want to understand, so understanding the 5 key components of financial literacy. So I'm gonna stop right there before I go down any further. When I left last week, I had an assignment for you all to at least tell me, in your opinion, looking up the definition, did anyone get around to doing that, what these 5 words meant? Earn, spend, save, and borrow, and protect.
I know, earn is gain or invest.
Okay, I like that. You know what, next time I come, I'm gonna get us some goodies, honey. I'm gonna make sure that I have something to pass out for right answers. She was right on, spot on for that. So it does mean that. It means to save. Gain. I'm sorry, thank you. Gain. Earn means to gain, I got that. What about spend?
Buy out.
To buy, one more time.
Buy out.
Buy out? Okay. What about save? Saving is what? What do you do when you're saving? It's an action word. What are you doing when you're saving? You're actually what? You're putting something away, right? Mm-hmm. So saving to avoid the need to avoid that compulsion to spend. So basically, avoid the need to spend. And what does borrow mean? If we go into a loan company. Bad, yeah, that's bad. Because if you borrow, it depends on who you're borrowing from, the finances, the interest rate and things of that nature. They gonna give you the money.
But you're gonna have like a 30%.
Yeah, you're gonna be paying half the amount back. So borrow, we know that, is money, time, and other resources. Take and use money from a person or bank under an agreement to pay it back later. So we'll just put pay it back later for the shorter term. And what does protect mean? When that comes to mind, what does protect means to you? When you're protecting.
Identity?
No, I mean, if we can use that word kind of broadly, because if I'm a mom, you're a dad, mom, you're going to be protective of your babies. You know, you might be protective of your home, your investment, whatever that is. So you're going to make sure that you're going to do everything in your power to protect that, right? That's exactly what it means. Protecting means to protect your belongings.
Yeah, because for me, I would constantly look up my credit score and see if, if there's any things on it that I know I didn't,
Right.
use or whatever, different agencies.
Okay. So protect means to protect your belongings or investment. So we're gonna go in and I wanna have Miss Deanna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Read for me where it says earn, understanding your paycheck.
Before you can start spending, saving, and investing, you need to know how much money you make. If you make the same amount each month, this part is pretty easy. Take a good look at your paycheck to identify your gross and net income, and note any other deductions such as employer, sponsor, health insurance, or retirement plan. Right,
so when you earn, you really want to understand what your paycheck is saying. On your paycheck, I don't know if you guys are familiar with FICA. That relates to the government. As I say, my own saying is Uncle Sam's gonna dock your check before you see your check. You know what I'm saying? You got all these other Medicare, spend down. You may have some other things that trying to see that will be on the check. You have your gross, your net. You know what I'm saying? You really want to understand what you're earning and understand what you're netting, your gross versus your net income. And what I tell people, don't budget from your gross. Don't do that. Budget from what you net. Basically, pay yourself. So when you see what your net amount is, take off some off the top, whether that be 20, 50, 100, whatever you can afford, depending on how you get paid, take it off the top. That I say budget from your net. That's what, when I say net, that's what I mean. Don't get your money and go straight start paying all your bills or paying everybody before you pay yourself. Now you stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Pay yourself first. That's another way too. Once you've determined your monthly net income, then you're ready to spend responsibly with a personal budget, and that's under earn. Jennifer, I'm gonna ask you to read spend on the, it should be next page though. Yeah.
Spend, creating a personal budget. A personal budget is just a plan for how you want to spend your money, but it's also the most useful tool for achieving your financial goals. To create a monthly personal budget, you'll need to track your spending over the course of 1 month, and then break everything down into categories. These can be broad, as in the top there, 50-30-20 budgeting rule, or specific for those of us who want to get into the nitty-gritty of our spending habits.
And we'll go over what the 50-30-20, if you don't know what that is, the budgeting rule a little later in the week, in the class to come. But this is just kind of like a snippet as it relates to the definition of these words. Miss Ania, right? You want to read under save for me?
Not really, but okay.
I like that answer. You said not really, but.
I don't understand, but say, determine your financial goals. Everyone knows it's important to save money, but it's hard to spend less than you earn without specific financial goals to work towards. Your financial goals will depend on your unique situation, but should include, can we read these little PowerPoints too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you have an emergency fund that covers at least 3 months? At least 3 months of basic living expenses? Do you have a plan for retirement? If you have debt, do you have plans to pay it off? Do you know your credit score and how to improve it?
Okay. And read on further down and stop where it says, and improve your financial literacy. Read that column, just that column for me right there.
You said which one?
Where you drop where it says how to improve your financial literacy right now.
Okay.
Read just that passage right there for me.
If you answer no to some or most of these questions above, don't worry, there are a few concerning things that you can do right now to take control of your finances and improve your financial literacy.
And we had them wrote up here. One of them was a budget, but I want to piggyback when you're budgeting. And I think I'm gonna put that word back up under here. Can someone tell me why is it important to have an emergency fund?
Just in case just in case something go wrong. I have a backup plan.
Right, in case something goes wrong.
Or you lose your job.
Okay, you said backup plan, right? Lose your job.
Become homeless.
Okay.
That's my life, sorry.
Okay. So, having an emergency fund, and why does it say at least 3 months of basic living expense? Can someone give me that answer of what you think why it says that? At least save up 3 months. Because you don't know if it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, and how prepared are you for the bump. Coronavirus really is real, okay? This sunk the economy straight crash. It crashed and burned pretty much overnight. It really separates the poor from the middle class, and in my opinion, there is no more middle class. It's either you got it or you don't. So if you're one of those persons that took responsibility of your finances and you put a little something back for a rain, if they say rainy day, right? Rainy day in the little jar. Then when this economy hit rock bottom with this pandemic, you have something to go to, because what happened? Can someone tell me what happened that really mattered when the pandemic first hit and everybody was getting in the wind of this pandemic? What happened? It was major. Happened globally.
People lost their job.
Yeah, they did. That came as a relate of what? I'm gonna put lost their job, but there's the word I'm looking for. She's right on point. And if y'all can't see this, I'm sorry. Let me go back. They lost their jobs, but there's a bigger word that I'm looking for that led to that, losing their job. It goes right up here. If I tell y'all gonna be like, oh yeah.
Don't say it.
Oh.
They didn't. They didn't. They didn't.
No, it's
I'm trying to think. It started to about time.
like a drought, like a.
Drought, you kinda close. You warm.
I can't think of the word, like,
This happened globally.
Yep, see, shut down.
Shutdown, which led to what she said, lost jobs. Some of the businesses, which holds true, did not recover from this pandemic. Some of them crashed and burned as well. They had to shut their doors, okay? The thing I'm saying here, if you put a plan into action, if you have an emergency fund, like she said, in case something goes wrong, a backup plan, for those who had this, when this happened, they didn't lose their job, they lose their pay. You had some people opening up in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, making money. Why? Because, you know, the government, all of a sudden, there was a windfall. I don't know if you all knew about that, where they handed out stimulus checks. I don't know if anyone was a recipient of that, and I don't want to know. But I'm saying, as they saw the economy crashing, they felt the need and the urgency to try to do something to get us back up to where we were. And we may not never recover as a whole, because we're still in this pandemic, right? So when you talk about, when I asked that important question, why cover for 3 months? This is going to be an example, because you still have bills. Even though they came up with this creative, can't cut them off, but that did stop the bill from rolling. Yeah, you can't cut me off, but when they reinstated and said, oh, well, no, all hands off, things are gonna go back to normal, what do you think happened with Ameren and Spire? They were licking their chops, right? Oh, now we can cut people off. I'm not saying that's what they're in the business to do. I'm not bashing them or by any means. But if you didn't have an emergency fund or a backup plan, how can you sustain your household? Rent still due to your landlord. If you got a mortgage, that's still due. And of course, everybody's coming together to soften the blow, giving you a reprieve, maybe giving you some time to say, hey, we know it's a pandemic going on. We're going to give you 2 or 3 months before you have to make a payment. But that don't mean 2 or 3, in the 2 or 3 months, let me ask the most important question. If I had a mortgage, or if I had a landlord, and they telling me, oh, you got 3 months that we're gonna give you some relief, what should I be doing in those 3 months? Should I take the money that I'm gonna get in the next 3 months and splurge and spend as if my life, like it's my last day? Or do something very strategic while I'm in the midst of this crises to help me further along to get over the hump? Which one would I be doing? Investing. Okay, everybody pretty much agree with that, right? Okay, so that's the reason why I wanted to key in on emergency fund. It's not getting the time, because I'm on my phone and I can't see, and honey, I don't wanna talk us over.
Yeah, right now here.
10:32.
10:30, thank you. It keeps me on point. I can go out and go on a ranching. Okay, so the next one is, do you have a plan for retirement? If you have debt, do you have a plan to pay it off? Do you know your credit score and how to improve it? So any one of us in here, do we ever sit down and think about, let me give you a little scenario. I'm gonna write it out for you. Anyone in here thinks about beyond our lifetime? I'm talking about like right now. I know everybody lives from paycheck to paycheck sometimes, but we all just live like right in the moment, right? So anyone in here ever have thoughts about what their 60s and 70s is gonna look like compared to their 20s, 30s, and 40s? You do. You guys are the youngest one in the group. What do you think about? Because I'm gonna draw from y'all. 'Cause y'all young, you know. I can't go backwards. I'm going towards that 50. I'm 44. I'm still young, but I'm another year. I'm creeping towards. I'll be there. You know. So, what do you think about it? Oh, Lord. Okay.
Retired.
So you can't really fathom retirement at 70, 60. Do you still want to be working at 60 and 70?
I mean, if I'm able to, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I said, okay.
My grandfather is still working.
Okay.
He
How?
almost said, for real, he almost said, y'all know.
Now, that may be preferential. What I mean by that is he may be comfortable enough to where he really doesn't need the money because he's put a plan into, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, what you,
Okay, no, I didn't want to over talk you and miss out. But he may have put a plan into place that allows him that comfortability to say, yeah, I want to work, but it's an option. That just kind of keeps the mind going so they're not sitting at home fiddling their fingers. You know, I'm not saying this is what they do, but some people that go into retirement, I do find a lot, they're coming back out of retirement. Some are coming back out of retirement because they're forced to come back out of retirement. And then you got some that just say, hey, this is a hobby. Hobby versus a need, that's totally different. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you a cycle. And this is the cycle of life. And This is something you might wanna write down or just take notes. It's not gonna be on test. It's just something that is true. From 0 to 20, someone takes care of us. So from birth until about 20 years old, our parents are in our life. They're taking care of us. They're making sure that we have everything we need, right? From 20 to 40, this is where we're living life. We're getting married. We're raising our children. Because by this time, we have children of our own. We're taking care of them and we're meeting their needs. From 40 to 60, I call this the golden year. And why would it be the golden years? Because this is the time frame that you start thinking about retirement, traveling while you're retired, and then just doing something adventurous, like going on a different adventure, something that's taking place. It's a new journey in life. I don't know if you all can see that. I'll rewrite it again because my handwriting get a little off. But from 0 to 20, someone took care of us. From 20 to 40, we're raising our children. We're taking care of somebody else. From 40 to 60, that's our golden phase. So if you see how the cycle of life really works, it's really important that when you sit down to do your finances, that you plan for retirement. Let's not try to just live in the moment. We're in some stressful times, I do get that. But we still would like to take that moment in our day to make a plan, prepare for action. Because one thing we do know, time is ticking. That's something we can't get back. That's the most precious, valuable thing that we have that we can't get back. You don't want to live a life of regrets. You don't want to be in this phase here between 40 and 60 saying, I wish I shoulda, coulda, and woulda. Or I didn't invest my money right. Or something went topsy-turvy. Now I'm at this age, like she said, her grandfather's about well over 70. So you got some that's past this age here that's had to go back to work, or he's probably doing it for a hobby, but there's something that made them come out of retirement. Maybe they didn't save enough. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to really think about in your free time. And if you have a debt, you want to have a plan to pay that off too. It's one thing I know you can't get around, it's like student loans and things of that nature as it relates to the IRS. But if, let's just say you have a car. You know, everybody everybody may not have a car, but if you want to get a car, if you're planning to get a car, put aside some money for that. But if you have a debt on the car, that's where the 50-30-20 rule comes in helping you pay that down. Okay? And I'll explain what that is in a minute. Knowing your credit score is really, really important. In the times that we're living in now, you're a number. I hate to say it, I'm a number 2. So when you go into a place to get something, even if your dream is to go own a home, they look at that. Even in the pandemic, you have to be at least a 620 before they will even do business with you as far as having you look at a house. If you're under 620, they won't even talk to you or invest time. It's called looky-loosey. Because you're looking, but you're not at the point on paper financially set to where I can work with him or her to get her into this dream home. So why are we looking? You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure how to improve your financial literacy right now. I'm going to read that passage here. We should be at about, 1040, 1045? Somebody?
It's 10:38.
1038. Woo, I'm making good time. So how to improve your financial literacy right now? Like she said, if you answer no to some or most of the questions, don't panic, don't worry. There are a few concrete things you can do right now to take control of your finances and improve all of your financial literacy. Create a personal monthly budget. Your budget is the foundation of your financial health, and it's pretty easy to get started. So as the book, I don't know if you guys brought the book with you. I think you may have the book. I'm just gonna cut right there just for a second. Because this is, the budgeting will be week 5 or 6 where we go to that in depth. I want you to flip past my picture, as it does me no justice. And look at this. The first one that says fast-paced budget, that's basically just giving you an introduction as to how you would do a budget. This is like a guide to help you there. But if you want to flip over to where it says this right here, it says every month cash flow plan, I implore you to utilize this. That's what it means by create a personal monthly budget. You want to do that. I know all of us can multitask, and we're good at that. But if multitasking in your head with your finances, then I want to say you're playing a very dangerous and risky game, because you can forget. That's kind of like having a ledger. Remember when banks were giving you checks where you can balance your checks? As you know, everything nowadays is cashless, paperless. You know, even your statements are coming, they're dropping in your email. They're not sending you paper. If they can prevent from cutting all these trees down for that, they'd rather send it to you paperless, right? I'm old school though. I still like to have my pen and paper. I will get home and write this down, because I want to know what I'm bringing home, what's coming out of what I'm bringing home, what can I possibly afford to cut, if anything on this list, add to, or balance out. You learn that by creating a monthly budget. That's what this book is all about. We'll get into that a little later in the weeks to come, but I just kind of wanted to touch on that. While you're doing the budget, always put in there, what can I afford to save? You know what I'm saying? Soda costs about $3, depending on what service station, a fast food restaurant you stop in, you're going to be paying about that much for a drink. So if you're spending $3 a day, add that up at the end of the week, add that up times 4, get that in 30 days, that's your total of monies that you could really be saving, and it's as simple as $3. You know what I'm saying? I don't want us to think big. You know, yeah, I'm big boss. I'm gonna put away $50 a week. That's great. If you can do that, hey, and you got control. You see that big 50, that crisp bill. You know, I'm gonna slide up under my pillow. I tried that. I'm human. Man, I get in the bind. Shoot, I know that 58. I'm gonna go get that 50. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's accessible to me. Which is another thing. You don't want to have money where you know you can get your hands on it. Put it somewhere that's going to make it difficult for you to get to. It's going to put you through so much headache, you're going to be like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you're on point to create that personal monthly budget. And while you're doing that, start an emergency fund. So somewhere in this budget, have an emergency fund wrote down. You know what I'm saying? If it's nothing but $5, you'd be surprised what $5 can do for you at the end of a year. A 365-day cycle, if you're constantly putting that $5 away. I have a plan that works for me. I can share it with you guys. I don't know if it'll work for you, but I call it forget about money. So let's just say I get a 20 and I break that 20. I can't leave away from my 10. It's gonna hurt my heart if I put that 10 up under, the box. But I can afford to break away with that 5. So for every bill that you break, put the change in a box and forget about it. Just put it somewhere in your house that don't put it somewhere you're gonna really forget about it, but forget about it mentally that it's there if you don't have like a financial banking institution, okay? I'm making that for an example for a reason. If you break a 10, you can't part with the 5 and the 6, 7, 8, whatever. Put the $3 or the $2 or the $1 away. Add that up in 30 days and see how much you have. That's a challenge for us here. You know, I don't know what we're getting. That's not my business. But whatever you get in the 30 days, forgive me, I got to come down. These hills are killing me. Whatever you get in a 30-day time frame, multiply that and say, wow, be proud of that, own that. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes discipline and strength to really save. We have so much, what I want to say, in this day and age, we get distracted with a lot of stuff on TV. We got so much coming at us that's flashing. You know what I mean? You go into Walmart, that's the super shop right there. They got your produce, your stuff, your food that you cook, the fast food or whatever, the hot food. Not only that, they got clothes. They start selling jewelry. Now, I might be a little bit behind on that because I'm not that flashy with jewelry, but I said, oh, y'all got jewelry over here? I'm like, dang, when y'all step up? They probably been had it. I just didn't see it. Clothes, anything you can think of with it relates to electronics. I love my little gadgets, honey. I be over there saying, okay, smart TV. Oh, we got a sale. Let me see. And I'm trying to budget in the store. That's the wrong thing to do. Because if I am at home and I'm writing out this budget, I already know that if I spend $100 on this TV, the smart TV, I'm in the red. You know what I'm saying? And please don't take a blind eye to spending money. Oh, I'm just gonna close my eyes and run this card. Okay. Now, you may can do that and get away with that a couple of times, but don't get into the habit of that. You want to establish healthy habits, and one of those is creating a monthly budget and starting an emergency fund. Now, I'm gonna read the rest of it. I'm gonna try to go through as quickly as possible because I know I'm working with a little bit of time. So I'm gonna highlight it. Protect, which means preventing fraud and buying insurance. Once you set yourself up a solid budget and an investment strategy, it's important to protect the money that you've made. This means regularly reviewing your bank accounts and credit cards, statements for mistakes or suspicious activity, keeping documents and passwords secure to prevent scams and identity theft, and buying the right kind of insurance to protect yourself in the event of emergency. So if you own a home, you want to look at that homeowner's, I'm pretty sure some of them nowadays come with a homeowner's policy. They make you get one. You want to know which one's going to best fit you. Life insurance, that is very important because we insure everything else, but we don't insure ourselves, and we're the money makers. You know, without us, won't no money be made. So you want to make sure you're doing that. Protect is very, very important to me because nobody likes surprises. I've had that happen to me before when they froze my account. You know, they thought it was some fraudulent activity going on. It was me, not fraud, but I hadn't used that account in a long time. And I'm sharing my stories. Had I been checking my account or saying, well, daggone it, it's only maybe $1 in here. Let me put $5 in here. Let me put $3. Let me put 20 or 100 to start doing some activity on this card with this financial banking institution. They will freeze your money. Then when I got that big lump in my bank account and I went to go get some gas, it was embarrassing because I'm like, what do you mean I can't get gas? So I'm calling them. I'm being transparent. If I can be transparent here, I cussed them out. Because I'm like, what do you mean? I know what's sitting in my account. How is it fraudulent? Here's how come it seemed fraudulent to them. Because there was no activity going on in my account for at least a month. Then all of a sudden I got this big whoosh. Now, that looks fraudulent to them. They don't know where this money came from or why it's sitting in my account. Now, all of a sudden, it's free-flowing. So having that protection word is very important because it helps keep you in check on balancing your stuff. Some people are anal about it. I'm not that anal. They're checking their account every hour, every second. I don't do all that. That's a little too extreme. If you have a business and you have an accountant or somebody, then maybe that's understandable if you got that many transactions going in and out, but not personally. I would recommend check on your account at least twice a month. You all have mobile app. You know, most of the banks have an app that you can put on your phone that just download right there. Netspend has a thing where you can, it dings you every time you make a transaction or you spend. Ding, $3 just went off your card. You know, you want to pay attention to stuff like that because you may have somebody that's stolen your identity, you know, and you stole your money, and now they're spending it. And if you don't pay attention to the ding, 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 you know, and most banks aren't FDIC insured, meaning if something were to happen to this money up to $250,000, they can replace it for you. So you want to make sure when you check into a banking institution, is it FDIC insured? That means my money is safe. If something were to happen to crash and burn, I can still be protected on my money. So this word right here is very, very important because it helps keep you accountable of what's going on. How to assess your financial literacy. An easy way to assess your financial literacy is to ask yourself some questions about your own personal finances. Do you even know how to create a personal budget? Even if you are a diligent saver, at some point you may have to borrow money to cover a large expense like a home, car, or maybe you borrow money as a college student and are currently dealing with student loan and a credit card debt. Borrowing isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you know how to compare loans and maintain a healthy credit score. So, keeping balance on your credit card is one of the easiest ways to rack up debt, but choosing the right credit card and using it responsibly can actually help you improve your credit score. So I'm highlighting this stuff. I'm pretty sure I still got a little time here. It's a little time that we're gonna take. We're just gonna do a little exercise. I wanna see how much you all have retained. I'm gonna erase this. The earn, spend, save, and borrow, protect, and I want us to give me the definition to that again without looking in your books. I want you to close your books. I want to see how much are you soaking up. Also, we're going to do the cycle of life. If you wrote that down, if you got it mentally, I want you to be able to tell me that too. So we're going to just take this little time to do a little exercise. I'm going to ask you questions, and then we're going to go from there. I want to see are we retaining any of this information, because I don't want to be the person at the top in the room that's just doing all the talking. I want y'all to help me out. So, can anyone tell me what earn means? I'm gonna do the easy. I'm gonna go back, see what we have retained.
Gain or invest.
Hmm?
Gain or invest.
There you go. I like that. I'm gonna write that down here. One second. Cause I'm here. My paperwork. Yeah, I have to keep looking myself. She's right on point. I like that. That's it. She got a sharp memory, y'all. Gain or you said investment, right? Okay. Can anyone tell me what spend means? What it represents?
Payout.
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 There we go.
Lord.
Can anyone tell me what save means? She gon' you know when I come back, she gon' get
She
some.
got this what I know she do.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Come, really?
I had a brain for it. I saw
Saving is to avoid the need to use
Yeah, that-
up or spend money, time, and resources.
I swear it was in my head.
Save is avoid spending.
Lord.
Borrow. We said this was a bad thing. So what does borrow mean?
Oh, like a loan. A loan, or it's another word you can say.
Loan or contract. You right there. It take and use money from a personal bank under an agreement to pay it back later.
Credit cards.
There you go. We're gonna put credit cards. I give you some credit for that. That's right, because that's a loan. Some of these credit cards will give you the money on the card, but then they track how you spend that.
Yep.
You know, and just walk on credit cards just for a little second because it's in my mind, and I really want to tell you guys. And I hope I'm not doing what we call information overload. But here on the credit card, you never want to spend over 30% of that card. So if you got approved for a $250 credit card, or $500. Capital One is pretty good about that and boosting your credit every 6 months. You want to spend 30% of that amount. You never want to get the card and max it all out and say, oh yeah, I'm doing the doggone thing and I'm gonna pay it right back. That's bad. Why? Because it says they consider you a high risk. So there's a reason for that, and we'll get a little bit into that later on in the week, but I just wanted to highlight, bring that out. And protect. Can somebody tell me why protect is very important? We just went over that. I know you got this, girl. Oh, you cheating on them.
Preventing fraud,
Yeah.
There we
Take
go.
it out, give me.
Preventing fraud, and what else?
protecting your belongings.
Hello. Uh-oh, we got somebody. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring back two gifts. Protecting
You bring
your
back the whole class. Ask a question,
Oh my goodness. So protect just simply means monitoring your what? Your finances, be paying attention to the bank account, the system and how it's set up, protecting your finances and your investment. So she's right. And what time I got, sweetie? I know I'm right at the end.
10:53.
Yes, okay, cool. So, cycle of life. Can someone tell me, we just went over that, what that means and why it's important? I'm gonna give y'all a bonus here. I'm gonna put cycle of life. I'm gonna write that for you.
It says 0 to 20.
0 to 20, take care of us.
Your parents
Yeah.
take care of
Woo!
you.
Woo! All right. I got you and you and you. I'm gonna have to just get everybody. You gonna reap the benefit because you with the midgets there. So kind of give you an incentive for next class. I'm bringing something back. I'm good too. So don't. When y'all see me, I'm gonna have this. Trust me. 0 to 20. That's right. Now, what was the next one?
20 to 40.
All right. And what's happening in this 20 to 40 phase?
When you start thinking.
Hello. I heard from you. Right with your hand. I like that. Yes.
Because I heard y'all both what you said that for.
Right.
I heard y'all, that's why I was laughing.
Right. And then what was the last cycle?
What, the 40 to 60?
All right. And what is it called? What do I call this cycle?
Your golden girl years.
I don't even say golden girl. I don't care.
Retirement.
Golden girl. I'm gonna put golden girls in just to give an incentive here. Lord, forget about the husband sitting next to you. But okay. We're gonna be all right, huh?
In retirement.
And thank you. And retirement. Can someone tell me why did I harp on this real hard instead of 0, 20, and 20 to 40? Why am I focusing in on this really, really bad?
That's the one with the most.
Hmm.
That's the ones the price is right. I'm gonna say prices.
40 to 60 is when you really start living life. Because when you're in the 0 to 20, you being raised. 20 to 40, you know, like you said, you're taking care of your family. This is where the magic begins and happens. But if we put a plan into action in our 20s and 40s, I can tell you right now, I'm 44. If I'd have found out about finances in my 30s, my late 20s, to be honest, because I'm a mother of 5, I would have started putting the plan into action for real. I would be set. I probably could be riding me in Bugatti now. Maybe that might be a little too extreme, but understand. But I would have enough money, you know, to pretty much, you know, say, oh, well, okay, I'm not going to suffer. So 40 to 60 is the golden years. It's all about the retirement and making the money work for you instead of you all working for the money. So I'm going to end on this note. I hope you guys enjoy your holiday. Don't eat too much turkey. I'm going to be out here with you guys. I'm working Thanksgiving, I think, but I'm going to try to get a little something in my belly before I get
Okay,
here.
I'll make sure I make my sweet potato and green bean casserole and.
Oh, really?
I
Oh, I have to taste that then. Okay. So week 4, when we come back, when class finally does reconvene, we're just gonna pick back up where we left off. Because week 4 is just all about financial literacy. Any questions that you may have, want to write down. I might pop quiz y'all again just to see, because week 6 is going to be the actual pop quiz, where it's going to be a little pop quiz test. So I'm telling y'all that now, so when y'all see me, you know, in week 6, I'm gonna be coming in with some paperwork saying, okay, pop quiz. So you might want to take some notes. But until then, folks, have a good one, and thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you.